Hello, hello, hello. It's your new day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cammie Owen, where we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. In our 30 minutes, we talk about your emotions and mind and how they tie into your body and spirit. We want you to renew and restore yourself in a world that wants you crazy. And sometimes we even talk about money. Introducing your hosts, Donna Reiners and Dr. Cammie Owen. I know there's more snippets of life as well. I'll share some of mine, completely different, same, but different. My mother was 39 when she had me, and she was told by my three siblings that my dad was a dirty old man and she had no business having children. And so in the womb, I received the understanding that I was unwanted, unloved, and unlovely. And then I ended up being born 2-3 months early. And I was hooked up to all these tubes and all these things for life, for support, life. And so I grew up. Now just think for a moment. You're dependent upon the medical community to literally keep you alive. So that, for me, is what I started to discover 10 years ago. That was part of my paralysis. That was part of my shutdown. That was part of my not understanding why I could not move forward. It was more than just a situation when my mom died. It really rooted back in my actual, the womb in which I was born. Mm-hmm. And so take that instance of rejection. I had a sister who hated me. She loves me today. We're best friends now. But she literally hated me, tried to drown me, beat me up all the time. And so when you're literally hated, it's a little different than, oh, I don't like you, I don't jam with you. No, I was hated. And so I grew up with this sibling that I adored and wanted just to be with all the time, to always being shut down and pushed away. So they say if there's like 5 to 7 years between you and your sibling, you're more like an only child. Mm-hmm. So I kind of grew up as an only child, even though she was in the house with me. Now, again, mind you, she only knew what she knew by the sister that treated her the way she treated her, and then by the oldest sister who treated them both the way. So see, it passed into the behavior. I'm not talking about the genes. The behavior passed into us because it's all we knew, because our parents chose not to protect that. Matter of fact, my dad was kind of part of that whole thing because he was from World War II. He was at the time where he was a drill instructor, and that's when you beat people up back before World War II. I mean, those were some serious times. And so anyway, I'm growing up. I am in Tennessee when I'm like 6 years old. I go down a hill thinking that I can go down this hill like all the other boys, because the boys said that they just went down the hill. So we're all on our bicycles. So I'm like, well, I can do it too. And so I go down the hill, and not knowing the hill is like this, and then it goes around a circle, and as it goes down, there's gravel. And so I'm explaining this because this is my background, so different in that the rejection was so intense that I even chose to go down a hill, not knowing those boys were lying to me. And I, the bicycle lifted off, flipped around my body. They said, the witnesses said, I flew as high as the tallest pine tree. This was in Tennessee. And I landed straight on my face and broke my teeth. And so I had to go get teeth, at 6 years old, before my teeth are even formed. Like, I still have baby teeth, And so it was some hard rejection things that took place going to school. Then, y'all don't know about this, but when I was a kid, the best that you got, which was latest off the dental rack, was little white porcelain with silver around it versus just silver. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you could have all silver, shiny teeth, or you can have the porcelain with the little silver around it, which was the next best step. So I still grew up with these ugly, feeling ugly. So move forward. I don't like myself. My last name is Sewell, Sewell. The kids referred to me as sewage ditch or sewer. Oh. And so it reinforced how I already felt about myself and how I felt like my family felt about me, even though they grew to love me. And of course they loved me when they saw me. But there is such a thing as vibration, and there is such a thing as something rooted inside you. So it was rooted inside one sister in particular that she really wanted nothing to do with me. So that emotion, those thoughts, those ideas were inside of me when I was even born. And so basically a loner, not having a lot of friends, had a few friends, but not a lot of friends, had a little bit of a rebellious nature inside me. Always wanting to go against the grain. I don't think I could tell chronologically, but I can tell you little snippets and I'm sure some of you are really going to relate. Another story in my life would be when going down to Pop's house, which was fun, going to Pop's and Granny's house. They weren't my natural, but I was like the joke. They would pee on fruit. And I'd get there and they'd offer it to me and then tell me later they peed on it.
Wow.
So I'm just telling you, these snippets of rejection really defined how I felt about me. Then I was able to get my teeth changed right before 9th grade. I remember my mom was so amazing. She was just the best mom. She was the best friend. And one of my memories, real quick, because I didn't know my mom was going to pass away when I was 18, but I remember one night, one of my best memories was playing cards all night long with my mom playing slapjack. Mm-hmm. And we would literally get down to 2 cards, and the other one would win, and we'd pull all the cards. And we laughed so hard. I see that. I don't have a lot of memories of that, but I have happiness. So keep moving forward. When I was in 7th grade, 7th, 8th grade, my mom really got to a place where she had to say something about the fact that I cried myself to sleep almost every single night for years, like years. And she was so kind. And one day she said, "You know what? We need to talk about your always being unhappy." Mm-hmm. And she gave me remember the old commercial. If you're young, you won't know this, but remember, knock the battery off my shoulder?
Yes.
Yes. Never let them see you sweat.
Yes.
That was the whole thing. And she told me, she goes, "I don't want you to let them see you sweat anymore." And so she took all the names of the kids I went to school with, and she said, "Okay, when this person, I don't want to say their names, when this person says that, just say, 'Oh, you're barking up the wrong tree,' or something like that, and walk away." So she literally took the names of every kid that made fun of me because they didn't know.
Yeah.
They were just reliving what they knew to do. I mean, now I'm older. I meet with those people. I've seen those people, and they had issues that were worse than my issues. So it's like we're all doing the best we can when we're growing up, right?
Yes.
So that summer, she taught me those things, and it took me 2 years. 2 years must be my magic number. It took me 2 years for me to really reinforce in me a different perspective and a different response to the kids making fun of me. So when I entered 9th grade, nobody made fun of me. Nobody made fun of me for the next 3.5 years. And that was big. That was huge for me. I got to be a new person based on 2 years. Now that I know, I was renewing my mind in my own way, renewing how I responded in life, et cetera, et cetera. So my mom introduced me to God when I was 10 years old. Mind you, when I was 6 years old, I had a personal encounter where I heard the voice of God say, "Come with me." And I said, "No way." And I knew then I was saying no because I thought it was too big a commitment. My belief is we're all co-crucified, co-buried, co-resurrected, and that's an eternal lifetime. That's an eternal world. That's forever and always. And in my finite 6-year-old mind, connecting with this infinite divinity, it's like my flesh saw the commitment. And so my soul said, I don't think I can do that. I can't give you what you demand from me. I saw it through a place of what the religious world would call law, sowing and reaping. And I said no. So what happened is all the giftings flowed through me as well. Now, those that watch this and go, well, that's just magic. Actually, the giftings of God, we're born with them. We might be able to develop them through practice, but we're born with them. Yes. They're supernatural gifts that are without revocation. They're without, you can't not have them. Right. They're just there, and it's because of the Christ within. And so as I had that world opened up to me, where I could levitate things sometimes, and I always knew who was going to call on the phone, and I knew who was going to come to the door, and I knew things, that place inside me where I supernaturally had discernment. Someone else would say, oh, well, that was just ESP. No, that was a gift inside of me knowing things, because God inside of me was showing me these things, and I saw through the eyes of God, but I didn't know what to do with it. So my mom introduced me to God when I was 10. Guess where she got her knowledge from? Those of you who are religious, you're going to really love this. She read in the back of an Edgar Cayce book, which is considered a false prophet by the religious folk. But she read all about the blood and all about the Christ and all about sacrifice and all those things that we shot him down for. Mm-hmm. He had all these powerful giftings that the church didn't understand. And of course, when you can't understand something, that means you can't control it. When you can't control it, you say no to it. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of what I did with my own gifts. I said no because I couldn't control them, and I didn't know what to do with them, and they felt bigger than life for me. Mm-hmm. So when Mom introduced me to God, the seed of hunger went inside of me. This seed just planted to me, and I began to walk to church. I began to go up the railroad tracks all the way down. I walked. I went wherever I could go. And I experienced all sorts of different types of churches, Pentecostal, Baptist, Catholic. I was Catholic for 2 years once. I was Jehovah's Witness for 2 years once. I was Mormon for several years once. You name it. I probably entered through the door looking for what was planted inside me, not realizing what was planted inside me was already within me. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. So as you move forward, my mom passes when I'm 18. My world falls apart. My dad's world falls apart. Our family's world fell apart. There was no more Christmases together. Mm-hmm. There was no more eating meals and holidays every holiday. Our tradition stopped. And we basically were aimless for quite some time, I'd say, as a family unit.
She was the glue.
She was. And it's so interesting. My mom's the kind of person, if she was at a party, you would not notice her. But if she weren't there, you would know she was absent. Mm. That's a person who's solid.
Had a presence.
She had presence,
yes.
But not flash.
Yes.
And she didn't speak a lot. She didn't take up for us. I look back and go, she could have protected me in this, and this. She didn't, because it was just, she was exhausted physically. That's why she, passed away early, because of all those things. Anyhow, that's a little bit of my background. And spiritually, I ran away from the very person who lived inside of me. I ran away. I just ran away. I said, no, I can't. And so when I, at 30, had a situation that developed, and I remember getting in front of the mirror and saying, listen, I don't really know exactly. It was like a 3-second prayer. I don't know what you're going to do, and I don't really know what it means, but I give my life to you. And I just ask that you give me life, because I'm dead inside. That was the end of it. That was the end of my little thought, my intention, my prayer. I ended up getting fired from my job, which was a beautiful transition. Went to the beach to celebrate, met somebody who took me to a church. Met them at church with my clothes on, because we were at the beach, and didn't recognize me. Ended up going to what is considered an altar call. Someone prayed for me, and this is what they said, God loves you, and he has a plan for your life. Mm. I'm like, how can he love me? And so that began the journey of me realizing I'm worthy of love. Mm. And then getting introduced to people who introduced me to grace, that background of understanding that we're in this search for ourselves. But the religious world will say, well, you're in search for God. Well, I challenge that and say, no, you've already found God. You just may not recognize that that's who lives inside of you.
Yeah.
I challenge you to think that you're on this journey alone. The one who says, I'll never leave you, I'll never forsake you, I'll never leave you, I'm always with you, lo, and to the end of you is where you really get to see that's the beginning of the one who lives inside of you. But actually, I challenge people to do this all the time in my counseling. It's like, when you go look in the mirror every day, I want you to look for 5 minutes solid in your eyes and look until you see the Christ inside. Look until you see the divinity inside of you. And when you see that divinity, then I want you to realize you're also looking into yourself.
Yes.
Because you are the core of what God did when he created humanity. We were all created to please him, and God is here within us because we're pleasing him. Even if you're the most rottenest person on the planet, I'm sorry, he's totally in love with you regardless. And so, a little preach on the side, excuse me. Anyway, yes, we're energy, yes, we're light, yes, we're dots, we're all these things. And then my personal belief, and I will stop with this, I don't have it, but let's say I want to show you something. This is my personal belief, and all you religious people, you can just tell me what you think later. Let's say this is God. This, I know it's tiny. This is God. And we are here inside this. And then Earth is here and all the plants here. There's nowhere you can go without this person that lives inside of you, and you live inside. That's the bigness of our God. And that's who is divinely inspiring us, whether you want to call it who or an it. I honestly don't think God has an identity crisis. I think we're the ones in the crisis, not him. And so you could say, and he'll say, yes, I recognize you. What are we talking about? Because it's the intention of the heart. Anyway, so that's a little step into my life as well. And energy world. I did enter into the energy world myself. At first, I was a little leery because, the religious world will teach you the energy world. It's a bunch of hoo-ha, new age, et cetera, or they'll call it what is known as witchcraft. Mm-hmm. And so I'll just lay this out right now and be done with it. If you really do research in witchcraft, like really look at it, at the core, all it means is manipulation and control. That's it. All these other things that we see, floating, all those things, those are just supernatural things happening. But the core, the root of actual witchcraftiness is manipulation and control. And do we not see this in pulpits on Sunday mornings or on the news or from the heads? Don't we see this everywhere? That type of thing. So the supernatural giftings, that's not witchcraft. Those are just things that need to be tapped into and need to be recognized where the source is. Who the source is inside of you, that where you can partner with to bring good in the world from those supernatural things.
Right. And why do we think they're supernatural? Because we've been taught that. We actually have more than 5 senses. Mainstream medicine has driven that hammer home that if you can't touch, taste, feel it, then it doesn't actually exist, except for, electricity. Well, you can't feel that if you grab it, but
until you don't.
Yeah. Actually, you can't let go. Somebody has to knock you off with a 2x4.
That's true.
But I would just challenge you to think about what you actually know because you actually know it, and what do you know because you were taught it. And that's the journey I would like you to take this week. It's just, what do you know because you know it, and you just know it because you know it. You don't really know why you know it, but you know it. Like you will fight against not knowing that. And then you know something because, well, that's what my mom and dad's always taught me. Or, that's what they say. That's what they say, whoever the heck they are. They say it, so it must be true. And I would just challenge you to take a personal inventory of what do you have personal experiential knowledge over versus What has been taught to you? What did you read in a book that somebody else was taught that as well? And just use your discernment. Start working your discernment muscle. And we'll talk about that. Don't believe a word I say. Don't believe a word she says. I would ask you to listen to the energy behind our words.
Yeah.
The intention behind our words. And then take that in and kick out what doesn't resonate.
That's right.
And what does resonate, that's what was required in this moment for you to hear.
And then remember, an example came to my mind. I was in a circumstance with someone who, of a different religion than myself. Beautiful people, love them. And this person was fasting. I said, really? How often do you fast? Oh, every week. I said, really? Well, why do you fast? I'm just curious. I said, well, I don't really know. My dad fasts, and I've been fasting since I was 10 years old. I said, really? So every Tuesday, or whatever day it was, you fast, but you don't know why you do it. And he's like, yeah. I said, well, it's very interesting. Christianity can be like that as well. Any religion can be like that, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, you go through the motions to do what you're told without knowing what it's rooted in. You believe what you're told because you trusted the people that told you that, but it doesn't necessarily that what they believed was actually the truth either, right? And so I totally resonate with what she is encouraging us all to do. Think about not just what you believe, but why you believe it. Just why. What started that thought? Like for me, at 6 years old, meeting the one who lived inside of me, but be saying no, that was a personal choice I made. Nobody did that with me. My mom did the introduction, like from a humanity standpoint, but God introduced himself to me long before I knew it was a thing. I said no to that. That was a decision I made, right? And it was a decision I made again at 30 to say, I'm interested again in this whole thing. I think there's something here. I think you're the life one and I'm a little dead.
Yeah.
And so that really helped me move forward. And then also just remember that whatever frequencies, whatever you pick up on that you decide isn't yours, just remember that when you put the bones aside, put them in the freezer because they might make good soup later.
Yes.
Right? Later.
Yes.
Soup comes later. And so dismiss it, put it to the side, but think, I'm going to put you to the side for a while because I don't know what I think about that. But don't just dismiss it as if it's nothing. You might have something later when you're mature enough to understand what it meant in the first place.
Yes. So I would piggyback off of that hear her speaking, she made a choice. And there's a difference between, a lot of times you'll hear, you set the intention and say your mantras and all that, and then nothing happens. Because that's not how it works.
That's right.
It's not how it works. In the quantum physics world, it's not how it works. And setting an intention is putting it in motion, but there's other things that have to happen for it to materialize. And we will definitely go over those things in future shows. But it's okay to be on the journey. The journey is the journey, and it's what we're here for. I like to think of this whole thing like we came in. It's almost like Disneyland to me, that we chose to come in. It's like an experiential kind of trip, and then we're gonna go back and go tell our family how Disney World was, but in a very simplistic and funny way. But I want to also talk about again that we are real people. We're no different than anybody watching this show. We're exactly the same human existence. We don't have anything special that you don't already have in you, because you have divinity in you. It's already divine and perfect. So there's nothing to fix here. You're not broken. There's just something that you're agreeing to that It's already been bestowed on you. You just haven't agreed to it yet. So that's part of our intention and journey. And we're doing it for ourselves. Because as soon as we get it, you guys get it.
That's right.
And as soon as you get it, we get it. So there's a little selfishness in here because we want to...
we want to be freer too.
Yes.
We want to know that we're really free, which we really are free.
I'm free.
Yeah. I
am free.
I am free. That's the whole
That's it.
I am free.
That's all there is to say. I am free. And then it's declared and then you go act as if it's true and then watch what happens. Just do that little exercise this week too.
That's right. And I know I keep referring to the religious world, y'all, but it's because of my background.
Yeah.
I call that you keep practicing something until you get far enough away from the stench of what it used to be till you can no longer smell it.
Yes.
The visual of, changing your mind enough to where you no longer have to change your mind. Because it's already changed about yourself and about humanity, about God, about creation, about that boss that you just want to hurt, all those things that we go through, right?
Yes.
You can get far enough away to where you're like, oh, I don't even know what that was anymore because the root's gone and then the behavior's gone and you're a new person.
Yeah. And I will say for me, that I don't subscribe to any particular religion. It's all divinely perfect. All of the ways that people express that divinity in them. I know it's coming in at different levels because in my belief, there's certain things that's been agreed to with and have not been agreed to with. And so it's all exactly where you're supposed to be. I believe I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I'm not right and I'm not wrong. I just am.
I like that. And I am from my spirit alive in Christ, which is am as well.
Absolutely.
Anyway, blessings to all.
See you next time.
Thank you for joining Your New Day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cammie Owen. We look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. Until soon.